come and check in. We're coming toward the end of the one-on-one, one-to-one for the mint phase. So I thought I'd just check in with everybody, see how people are doing, and yeah, I just want to say, like, I think DragonX is turning out to be a tremendous success. It's definitely exceeded what I could have hoped for, and it's really changed the game for TitanX. Like, you can see even on the TitanX website now that Jake has added a section for bots, for protocols that are automating aspects of the TitanX game theory. So I think it's clear the impact we made, like in a few short weeks. And yeah, thanks for being on this ride with me, guys. So yeah, I just wanted to hang out and answer any questions you guys have as we close up the one-to-one, and also mention what we're going to be adding to DragonX to enhance the functionality. It's kind of like the first thing we're going to be rolling out. We have a couple of other projects in the works that are still secret. One of them Jake has been alluding to on several live streams, but that will become clear shortly. So yeah, if anybody wants to just speak, just let me know. I guess before we jump into the next thing we're going to be adding to DragonX, I thought it'd be cool to just answer any questions you guys have on this remaining mid phase, and any general questions about DragonX, just based on some of the live streams that Jake has been on. I know he's been also dropping some alpha around DragonX. So if there's anything I can help you guys understand, I think this could be a good space for it. I will just say, like, some of the things Jacob has been mentioning, I hope they're getting through to people. Right now, we have the opportunity to set a floor on the TitanX price, while also getting a high performance derivative on TitanX in return. That's like a really big opportunity for us as a community. It's a chance to basically store your value in a different way while helping this DragonX buy and burn do its job to set this floor in. So yeah, it's a big opportunity for us, and the game is starting to change because of this 5% shift that's going to be happening. So yeah, I hope if you guys have a chance, because I know you guys are the diehards, like, if you get the word out, that would be super helpful. Because right now DragonX is still like 10%. The DragonX holders are still like 10% of the overall TitanX holders, which is astounding to me, given how much we've accomplished in a few short weeks. We've gone from basically a concept to like a set of contracts that have over $5 million of TitanX in them. Jake is out there giving his project a huge amount of support. I've been on multiple live streams describing the value of the product to TitanX, and from my perspective, like, the value proposition is very clear. But I will open up the floor. We can get this discussion going, and yeah, let's just take it from there, guys. So feel free to just request. Yeah.
Hello, Eric. Hello, everyone.
Hey, how you doing?
All good, all good. I think from the perspective from the community, I don't think they really understand how the kind of difference is going to take place. Like that you're going to get 5% less and 10% less, and how that's going to actually equate to the price. So is it a case that after 12 weeks, there's going to be a guaranteed 50% difference in the prices between TitanX and DragonX? Is that guaranteed?
Nothing in crypto is guaranteed.
Well, as much as possible.
Yeah, look, I'll give you the explanation solely based on the mechanics, okay? Because this is a decentralized contract, like, it's running in a certain way. Any observer can see how it's operating and what the implications might be. Okay, so you have what do you have right now in the DragonX buy and burn? $600,000 roughly of Ethereum backing up the price. Okay, so you have this price shift that's going to happen, where you're going to have 5% less DragonX coming onto the market for every TitanX that gets put in. So what you're going to have is a buy and burn that is going to keep chewing away at the DragonX supply. While the DragonX is now available for 5% more. It's more expensive by 5%. I think the implications of that are that the ratio will shift in the market, just due to the fact that you have the DragonX buy and burn, which is mechanistically basically buying DragonX off the market and supporting any new price floors that come in. So it's definitely going to be interesting. You know, the arbitrage, the one-to-one arbitrage is effectively closed, right? And users can now arbit this new level, and the buy and burn is going to continue to kind of support that, if that makes sense. So I think that if you continue to see that week over week, I think it's pretty clear that you're going to have an asset that is, you know, one DragonX for every two TitanX on the market. What do you guys think about that? It seems to be pretty logical, given that we have the 600,000 Ethereum that is just mechanistically buying.
Yeah, I think I get that, but I think that's what the community is lacking to understand. So I think they get the proof of concept, but I think they're waiting to see the proof of work. So when they actually can see it's working, but by that point they've lost a bit of gains. But I think that's what it is really.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine. Oh, someone else wants to speak here. Revo, did you want to mention something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, well done to you guys. You know, the new builders, Erik, and some of the other stuff that I can see coming on. It's just like absolutely incredible. I mean, I've been in TitanX since about, I think it was day 20. I kind of found out about it. I don't know how, but I'm constantly scouring through the kind of message boards and all the rest of it. And then I came across TitanX, and I was just like, wow, this is crazy. I need to look into it more. And then realize that this is going to be big. But now I'm like thinking, you know, obviously with you guys building, and obviously other professional builds coming on board as well, I'm just thinking this ecosystem is growing after like 90 days, which is fantastic. That was just my first kind of message. Now I'm I'm one of these people that just I don't quite get things to start with, understand things to start with. I'm not quite as sharp as maybe Erik or Jake or some of the others, so it takes me a little bit while longer to kind of understand things. And I think my key message really is that we need to make our messages, so like now I understand things a bit more. There's still things that I don't quite get, like kind of liquidity and the certain the nuances that I get. You know, you've just mentioned something about like basically one DragonX is going to be worth so one DragonX is going to be worth two TitanX, for example, things like this. And I think the message, that kind of message getting out to the wider community, so not just inside our bubble, which we've got a brilliant community and it's growing, but to grab new members on board and explain, you know, why you want to be in this, and I'm almost going down the route of thinking, you know, when I was new to crypto, which is actually not that long ago, I was kind of like, how the hell do I get a wallet? How, you know, I'd like to get in some of this, but how do I even start? And I think there's some people that are probably looking at this on message boards and Twitter and X and stuff like that, and they're actually thinking, yeah, I'd like to get some DragonX, but how do I get it? What do I do? Where do I start? Security and all the basics. I think there's some members that have been doing stuff with regards to kind of like showing people like easy way ins to onboard and stuff like that. I bought another token, a completely different token the other day, and they actually had on their website literally a step-by-step easy guide for like a complete beginner to literally how to get a MetaMask, how to get into that, how to actually load up, how to, you know, get fiat on board to, you know, into Ethereum, etc., etc. And I thought that was really good, because I actually followed some of that as well, even though I kind of know how to do stuff. But it was like copying, you know, contracts and putting them into Uniswap and things like that. So I think I think all of us as a crypto community need to be better at trying to figure out how to kind of appeal it to the wider audience, not just our bubble. because I think when we do that, and obviously that will happen during the bull run, but I'm sure there are people on the periphery of crypto like looking at it thinking, yeah, I'd like to get on that, but actually I won't go in TitanX because I don't really know how to get into it, so therefore I'll just go and buy some Ethereum off Coinbase, you know, that kind of thing. So that's the only thing that I'm thinking is kind of not missing, because it will happen obviously as the price starts going up and people start realizing, hold on, I can still get some, you know, Titan mines, and I can still get DragonX, because I think there's about 10 weeks left to kind of get it at a good price before it closes or what have you. You know, it's like little nuances like that. And also kind of, I know it's difficult for people like Erik and Jake to kind of talk, you're not allowed to talk about price for obvious reasons, but maybe some of us in community can kind of start discussing, not like crazy prices like I've been putting out recently on X, but I think just kind of like hooking people in to say, look, if this and this happens, this is what the price is going to look like, kind of thing, you know, without going completely crazy. We know that, you know, if everything works and the ecosystem grows, I mean, this is going to go to, you know, maybe, I don't know what, 1000x. It's definitely going to go 100x. It's definitely going to, it probably is going to go 1000x and could be more over time. We've seen lesser projects go, you know, 1000x, and every project that kind of starts is going to start at a very low price. And I think mining in TitanX is still a big thing. So just a few kind of varied kind of points there, but I just think like just overall, I just think absolutely brilliant work, and I still think we're early, you know, which is great. So thanks, Erik. Over to you. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Really good point. Yeah, I can use your help, guys, getting the word out. It's a bit. This is a bit of a niche product. Like, it's targeted toward people who understand the mechanics of TitanX to a degree. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, especially in the bull run, there's going to be so many new people coming in, and yeah, I think that, like, since we all have Twitter followings, we need to maybe reach out into some other communities on Twitter and be active and try to bring people in. I think there are a lot of different angles you can take when you're talking about DragonX. Like, one that comes to mind right now is think about the fact that you know, right now we're getting like 100 billion, maybe more than 100 billion, 200 billion of TitanX a day into the mint phase. Well, what if that was buy pressure on DragonX? Someone can do the math. I mean, it's obviously speculation, but you could say, what if half of that is hitting the DragonX price every day? What is the effect on DragonX? Right. That's one angle you could take. Another angle Jake is taking among TitanX people I've noticed on streams is he says, look, you can sell your DragonX, right? You don't need to hold your DragonX forever. You're not giving up the opportunity to trade it later for TitanX. I think that's a point that I haven't really mentioned, but it's a point that Jake did, and it's a good point, which is this is so tightly coupled to TitanX that it's going to be convertible back to TitanX. There's a large and growing pool, right? So if you do want to go into other protocols later, you haven't given up your opportunity to swap back into TitanX. And in the process, you are building the snowball. You're actually pumping both assets. So it's really, there isn't, if you're in TitanX for the long term, there isn't a whole lot of downside to participating in minting. And I think a lot of people, when they think about the minting, they think they're making kind of a final decision. But it doesn't need to be a final decision because it's so tightly coupled to the underlying asset. Hey, Mike, I just gave you permission to speak.
Hey guys, I was actually just at a meeting and I saw on Twitter that you started streaming, and you started the spaces, and I started streaming it straight to YouTube. But I was on a meeting, work meeting.
Nice.
So I just want to say you're live on YouTube as well. So yeah, just let you know.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. I really appreciate it, Mike. Mike, we got to do a stream. I'm sorry, man. I wanted to get into the studio for you again, but maybe we just do one impromptu from my basement or from some cellar.
Yeah, I think with that dark cellar is fine, man. Like it's perfectly
Yeah,
fine.
from a dark cellar. Yeah, but we should definitely stream soon. Yeah. So guys, those are some points I wanted to bring up.
There's a question on YouTube.
Engaging. Yeah. Okay, what is that question?
Exactly, yeah. So like one thing I wanted to say also is like, yeah, I think you've mentioned this because I was not listening. I just started the stream in the background because I was still at a work meeting. I'm now in my lunch break. So somebody's asking, if I convert TitanX to DragonX, how is it possible to convert DragonX to ETH? So I think this is something maybe to just clarify how it works, because, well, for people who are advanced, they know what to do, but I think most people, they haven't grasped it yet. So probably, you got the question?
Yeah, actually, you're right, and I think this is something I can do better communicating, which is like the convertibility of DragonX. I think people aren't quite keyed into, and I think, like I said, Jake has done a good job of vocalizing this. But guys, DragonX is an ERC20. There's a solid amount of liquidity for such a young coin in that pool, right? So this is not something that's illiquid. It's a highly liquid asset. So if you ever want to swap back to Ethereum, you just need to swap through TitanX, and then swap to Ethereum from TitanX. So it's not a final decision to engage in DragonX, to basically make a deposit into this contract, which is pushing up the price of both assets, and remaining liquid is a really unique opportunity. It's unique, and it's not going to be repeated. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, you can swap this token like any other token. I imagine somebody will set up a DragonX wrapped Ethereum pair at some point. Obviously, we wouldn't do that because we want as much volume to route through TitanX as possible and through our pool, which earns all the fees. Right, the DragonX pool, it earns the DragonX because the contract owns it. It burns the LP that is DragonX, and it actually takes the TitanX from the LP pool and it submits it to the vault. So the TitanX fees are getting restaked. So obviously we want as much volume to go through that pool as possible, but I imagine as DragonX grows, there'll be other pools like wrapped Ethereum direct with DragonX. We can't really stop that.
Yeah, so just probably to make a point as well there, Uniswap is a completely permissionless system. No, you cannot stop anybody to create any LP, basically. I could literally today, if I wanted to create a DragonX Bitcoin, wrap Bitcoin liquidity pool, like Erik cannot stop me. What I'm just trying to say is basically permissionless systems are permissionless. I mean, that's why we have rug pulls and stuff like that, because you can't stop those people either. So probably just want to make a point on that.
Yeah, really good point, Mike. Guys, any other questions about mid-phase or DragonX in general? Good plan. I see you joined. How are you doing? Yeah, guys, feel free to request if you want to speak. Give you a few seconds here to someone else wants to step up.
So probably while we're waiting, Erik, I just want to give you something. And the one thing which I heard, especially at the beginning when I was writing some few things on TitanX, right? So I did the video and then I was tweeting about TitanX and stuff like that. And initially I was very impatient because I would literally say something like 2 tweets ago, and then somebody will be asking the same question over and over again. So I had to change my mindset a little bit. And the way I changed my mindset was when I heard an interview with Michael Saylor, and Michael Saylor said he has a friend of him, he's a politician, and what they found out was that politician, for him to get his message through, he has to say it 56 different ways to people, and then they start to grasp it. So when I heard that, I changed my mindset, and that was, yeah, people need a lot of bombarding so that they actually start to understand the whole system. So yeah, just a feedback there.
Yeah, it's so true. It's something I'm recognizing. It's something Jake is actually really good at because he takes lots of different angles on things. So I'm trying to do the same thing where I take different angles on DragonX. I think I'm starting to put out more and more angles. There are so many ways you can cut this, right? It's a store of value because it's deflationary, but it uses the same adoption mechanics as TitanX. So TitanX is like the oil of the system, and we're like the gold of the system, right? You could say that we're like the PulseX of the ecosystem because we're just constantly nibbling on that DragonX price forever, right? As long as people are minting. So there's so many ways you can kind of cut it based on your audience. So it's a really good point.
Yeah, I mean, I started whenever I come up with something in my head, I just tweet it out. And one of the things I said was DragonX is the Bitcoin of TitanX. Bitcoin is obviously equals cap supply, store value. So trying to just think of it in a different ways so that people can somewhat get it. Because, well, I look at the technical stuff and then I understand it straight away. Like, because I look deeply in the technical stuff. But at the end of the day, literally, it's like in any token whatsoever, there's supply and then there's liquidity. Those are the two important things. Everything else is, well, pretty much just, from my understanding, is narrative. So it's like, what is the supply? Who gets that kind of supply? How is that distributed? Those are all the mechanics which different projects they try to come up with, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, how does the supply come to existence? Who gets it? Is it inflationary, deflationary? And how is the liquidity pool currently looking at? And then those are the two most important things, really. And everything else, it's, yeah, just trying to create a narrative so that people understand it, actually. So this is like kind of my view.
Yeah, very good point. And people respond to different narratives, you know. So true, man. So true. So when are we going to get a DragonX page on TitanX Hub?
Man, I'm working on it, but I mean, the URL is already there, titanxhub.com/DragonX. The URL is there, but if you visit that, you're going to find out that it's coming soon. So I'm really working hard on it, but my current limitation is my day job. So looking forward, DragonX, to elevate that.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Guys, so I wanted to mention what we're going to be adding to DragonX. So yeah, like I said before, and I actually just tweeted this, like, I think we hit on something just so perfect with DragonX. And, you know, it's not just me complimenting myself. Like, I think everything came together perfectly for it. It was like the team that I had at the time, the community, the perfect timing of the project. You know, we've had a month basically before any other project launch, right? The buy-in from the founder, like everything just came together perfectly. It's really a unique token. It's super unique, and yeah, I'm super proud of it. I'm getting more and more proud of it by the day, like as I see it operating flawlessly. You know, because as a creator, you're always worried like if something goes wrong. I was terrified, guys, when I deployed this. Like, despite the fact that I'd poured over everything so many times, and some really smart auditors and developers were telling me to ship it, I almost didn't ship it for the 28 day, just out of my own like fear, basically. Like, it was just irrational fear. But yeah, and so as time goes by and the system just operates so well, I'm just getting more and more confident every day of the value proposition. And that's just my, you know, obviously I'm the founder, right? If I can't speak well about it, then who can? But yeah, I really love this project and this token. in this community. And so what we're going to be doing, so all that to say, like, DragonX is great the way it is, perfect the way it is. We're going to be extending the functionality of DragonX with some OTC capabilities. So basically what we're going to do, and I don't know if any of you guys know Bozo Finance, but we're going to be launching a similar set of basically collateralized DragonX positions using NFTs to represent the collateral. So you will be able to take your DragonX, you'll be able to collateralize it in an NFT. And these NFTs will become more scarce over time. So if I would highly recommend you guys take a look at Bozo Finance to see what effect this has had on the project. You know, these NFTs have gone up something like 400%, and the price of Bozo has gone up accordingly. And that's because there's this arbitrage that's going on between these collateralized positions and the underlying. As the deflationary asset becomes more scarce, the NFTs become more scarce and they become more difficult to generate. And the scarcity of the NFT leads to higher NFT prices and higher market prices. So this is another way you guys can store your value, another way to store your value in DragonX. And it's another way for you guys to basically trade. If you're a DragonX whale, you can create one of these collateralized positions and you can trade it. And I think it's going to be great for DragonX as a whole because it takes more supply off the market, but it also allows that supply to be liquid. So I'm going to be dropping the white paper soon for it. I'm really excited. I think it's like a nice cherry on top of the whole project. Obviously, it's voluntary. Like, holding DragonX is fantastic, but if you do have a big position and you're thinking about maybe exiting that large position and you don't want to hit the market, this can be an option for you. And there's some really powerful mechanics in there that accelerate the deflation of the asset, which just further increases the price of the NFT, which pushes people to mint more NFTs and take more supply off the market, and that allows the buy and burn to be more and more effective, and it just creates a flywheel. So I think, like, you know, I think Bozo NFTs are up like 400x, and obviously that's not financial advice. Like, it's just a sign that this is a very strong mechanic to add, especially to a deflationary asset like this, where the scarcity is built in. But I'll drop the white paper, guys, and you'll see more. But yeah, so what we're going to be launching is basically these collateralized positions that allow you to do OTC with DragonX. And it'll be more clear when the white paper comes out. But in the meantime, if you want to check out Bozo Finance and what they're up to, it's a little bit like that. We have our own spin on it that we think basically enhances the system a little more for us. But yeah, that's kind of the next thing that we're going to be launching, hopefully this week, actually.
This week? Come on, man. You're hitting us with too much here.
Yeah, later this week, I would say. Like, actually, the big holdup is the artwork for the NFT. Like, the system is actually already built and audited at this point. So yeah, it's going to be cool, man. Take a look, and obviously, it's totally optional, guys. It's another way, because we're kind of the value storage layer. At least this is how I see it. We're like the value storage layer for TitanX. If people want to store their value in a position and then trade it OTC, they can do it now. So and by doing that, you basically enhance the entire system. So yeah, I'll be dropping the white paper soon.
How do you write Bozo Finance? I tried to Google it, but I couldn't find it. How do you write that?
B-O-Z-O.
B-O-Z-O. All right, I'll check it out.
Go ahead, Revo.
I was just going to say a comment on NFTs, and I know that Jeff, Crypto Kindness, has mentioned it. There's a lot of people that are really behind on understanding NFTs. I'm one of those. I kind of get it, but I'm still kind of I need a lesson. So if there are any people, and I know I'm pretty sure Mike, you've mentioned that you're really keen on the NFT market, and you've got a deep understanding of it. So maybe somebody could put a video out on that. That would be absolutely brilliant. And if we could kind of put a video out and kind of tie it in with you know, the TitanX, because I think there's other NFTs happening on TitanX as well, some of the projects, and obviously the DragonX NFTs as well, kind of tie that in as well, maybe pull some new people in to kind of get involved in this as well. I think that would be really helpful for a lot of people in the community, because I certainly I don't have the confidence in what NFT, I know what NFTs are, but not really kind of how I can utilize these and how I can grow these into kind of asset profits, if you know what I mean. Thank you.
I think yeah. So like regarding NFTs, I know it on the technical level, but the market of NFT themselves, like with the JPEGs, the pictures, like that market, the whole narrative behind it, I don't know it that much, to be honest. But on the technical level, it's pretty much very straightforward. I mean, as an NFT, you can look at it as just like a receipt or a proof that you have done a certain thing. Imagine you go to a shop whereby you can bring your gold there. Like, let's say you have 1 kilo of gold, whatever, right? And then you just bring it to a place where they store it for you, and they give you a receipt that you have 1 kilo of gold there. That's an NFT. It's a unique receipt that you have provided 1 kilo of gold to that particular shop to be stored or something. And with that ticket, if you give it to your brother and he goes back there to that shop, he will get that 1 kilo of gold because, well, he has the proof that you brought it there. So it's just a receipt. Like on the technical level, it's just a proof that you have done something in the system. And what you have done in that system, that is where different things come into play now. So DragonX with the Basel Finance, it's a collateralized position. It's basically they give you. I mean, this is now my understanding. Like, I mean, that NFT is just proof you've done it.
Exactly, it's a position that you are just depositing into the contract that anyone who owns the NFT can redeem. So that's exactly right. The DragonX is still there. You're not burning it. It's a position that you can trade.
Okay, I understand that. Thanks, guys. I think my confusion, and maybe this is for the wider community, not just TitanX, but maybe the wider crypto community as well, is because NFT historically has been kind of pictures and things like that. You know, these pixelated pictures of all sorts of things, and I think that was where my mindset was. Now you've just taken me into a different route of, right, okay, so for example, you could have an NFT that is worth, say, for example, 100,000 DragonX or something like that, and then that would be my receipt of that. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are actually functional uses for NFTs besides artwork. Like there's NFTs as art, and then there's NFTs that are functional. This is a functional NFT. Another example of a functional NFT would be a Uniswap V3 position, which is actually represented by an NFT. And that actually is something we're working with right now in our next protocol for TitanX. But there is a way that NFTs make actual sense, like actual economic sense, and are not just for artwork. I'm not saying that the artwork isn't good. It is good. But it's a different use case. Whereas this is not a collectible item. This is not artwork. It's like an actual position. It's almost like a Zen NFT in the sense that there's underlying Zen there. And this will be underlying DragonX.
So
Brilliant, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Revo, regarding the NFT with the picture. So basically, as I said, right, it's just a receipt, a unique receipt. Now imagine that receipt has a picture attached to it. Now that's what people say, like, oh, whatever. It's like a nice picture on it, basically. And then at the end of the day, it's just a unique receipt, but now there's a picture on top of it. And now people trade it because it's like, I don't know, those trading cards, Pokemon and stuff like that, right? They're just unique because they're nice. There's a nice narrative to it, let's say. But since it's just a receipt of a proof that you have done a certain thing or you own a certain thing, technically you can use it for whatever you wish, basically. I mean, it depends on your use case, right? But it's just a receipt.
Yeah, exactly. And the cool thing about it is people can collateralize large positions of DragonX. They can trade them on secondary markets. And as they collateralize those positions, they remove potential sell pressure, which allows the buy and burn to act on the price more, which increases the value of the NFTs, which drives people to create more NFTs, which further reduces the circulating supply, right? Because it's locked. And that's a virtuous cycle. And the reason we're implementing this is because we've seen that virtual cycle play out on less attractive game theory, basically, than what DragonX has, and it's done very well. So we think it's a good addition. It's a power user feature. If you don't feel comfortable with it, there's no obligation to use it. Holding liquid DragonX is fantastic. As I said, DragonX is complete the way it is and really awesome. But this is kind of a power user feature that people can avail themselves of, especially if they have large DragonX positions. Does anybody have any questions around kind of like where DragonX is right now? Anything that Jake or I have mentioned previously? Any concerns popping up that you guys are seeing that are unaddressed?
I think the biggest thing for me, like the DMs I'm getting and people asking me questions, is just rather how will DragonX, like, I mean, do we hold DragonX? What do we do with it? The price is not moving. And it's just misunderstanding of how things work. Probably, I don't know, maybe you've mentioned this and I was not in the stream yet. I just started streaming on YouTube straight away. But the arbitrage, for instance, like I'm seeing a lot of people, they don't understand like why the price is very similar to a TitanX, and whenever the price goes up, it comes down again. And people are asking, why is that the case? So probably Erik, go ahead and probably explain that a little bit. I mean,
Yeah, this is an important feature of the system, which is that DragonX and TitanX are very closely coupled, because the primary LP is DragonX, TitanX. So when the TitanX price goes up, the DragonX price also goes up because the price of DragonX is derived from the ratio of TitanX to DragonX in the pool. That's how the price is derived. So that's why they're moving so closely together, because their liquidity is so tightly coupled that they basically, the market price of one directly affects the other because they're so tightly bonded in the liquidity pool. And as DragonX becomes basically as this premium is programmed in over the next 12 weeks, you're very likely to see that premium on the market. Obviously, no one knows what will happen, but in terms of just sheer supply demand, like sheer economic theory, you would see that price adjust because new users coming in can't actually get the same amount of DragonX they once could for TitanX. So why would they part with it for less? If that makes sense. And that's what's so cool about this. We're watching kind of the social economic system that is crypto like playing out here. And Mike, does that kind of answer the question? I know it's a good question. Like, but I think people don't. I think you're right, and quite a few people don't quite grasp the fact that DragonX is right now basically an equivalent to TitanX. It's a direct equivalent because of the coupling of liquidity, and that means that by minting DragonX, you're not losing your value. You're just changing it to an asset that has a direct correlation. And in the process, you are propping up the price of both TitanX and DragonX.
yeah, I think it's definitely clear. I mean, I'm gonna make a video, so I'm trying my best here to just produce as much as possible. But yeah, so for most people, I mean, obviously, there's also a buy and burn from DragonX themselves, obviously. And the reason sometimes the price would go up over TitanX price because the buy and burn ramps up the price, and then somebody sees that, and if it makes economical sense, they just mint tokens. They just because since you can get one-to-one, you can mint basically with TitanX one-to-one. If it makes sense for you, you can arbitrage that. So if the price is higher, for instance, imagine, let me make it probably an extreme example. Let me just try to think on the spot here, because sometimes it's not so easy for myself just on the spot. But let me just give this a try. Imagine you are holding DragonX, right? And you're seeing right now the price is twice. So you minted that DragonX, one DragonX, you had spent one TitanX. Now the price is double. So if you sell your DragonX right now, you're gonna get two back, right? Obviously, if you know that you're gonna get two TitanX back, and that one which left you can mint another token. So at the end, you have one extra without doing anything. In essence, that's the arbitrage. Hopefully it made sense what I just said. But in essence, why the price comes down is because there is a one-to-one direct correlation right now. That will change in how many days?
1 day in some hours.
Yeah, 1 day in 12 hours, and that will change, and that ratio will change, and we're going to do a staircase every time the ratio changes. So we're going to do a staircase up to day 84, and then Erik told me we're doing a staircase to heaven, but I'm not so sure.
I did not say that. I did not say that, sir.
Okay, maybe I was dreaming yesterday. We're gonna be doing a staircase to heaven, but hey, it was in my dream, man.
Not financial advice. No, nobody knows what will happen, right? I mean, DragonX is still largely going to trade. I mean, it will always trade in close connection with TitanX, right? So TitanX dumps 99%. DragonX is going down. Like that's just reality. It's in the white paper. This is a derivative off TitanX. There will be the really strong divergence is going to happen after that 84th day. So that's when you're really going to see the two trade separately, but they're still deeply linked because of liquidity.
Absolutely. I mean, I think one thing I just said was also that I think I tweeted something out regarding liquidity, the bonding, and that was where TitanX pool is a leverage play on ETH, DragonX pool is a leverage on TitanX. The liquidity is bonded to the upside and the downside. So the same way that TitanX is tied to ETH price, is DragonX is tied to TitanX, basically. So one thing to note is obviously to the upside and downside. Not to forget that one.
Yeah, so I was just reading the comments. Yeah, Warrior Soul put in the correct link there. So Bozo Bank is basically the inspiration for this. It's not quite the same. There are some different parameters, but this is kind of the project that inspired what we're doing right now. So take a look. Yeah, and just like this is called, it's Bozo hybrid trading. This will be DragonX hybrid. It's a new way of basically holding your DragonX position and trading it.
So probably, Erik, one more question. I understand why you do want probably your DragonX to go through this Bozo finance or something similar what you guys are going to be doing. So what would be my motivation to do so? Probably explain that a little bit more. It's like, why would a users be like, okay, you know what, let me do it through this NFT thing? Like, what would be the motivation for somebody to do so?
Yeah, the motivation would be that basically what you have is a way of exiting your DragonX position via the NFT markets. So if you are, let's say you're a DragonX whale, you can, and the price goes up a ton, right? But you don't want to smash the DragonX price down and flood the market with tokens. You can collateralize your position, and you can put the position denominated in, say, Ethereum on an NFT market. And that will allow you to exit from DragonX into Ethereum without hitting the price of DragonX. So that's one benefit. The other benefit is that basically the floor price for these NFTs will be rising over time. And that is because there is less and less DragonX every day after that 84 days, after this 84-day inflation period. So the supply of DragonX is going down, which means obviously there are price fluctuations. So there'll be days, maybe even weeks where it won't be more expensive. But overall, the declining supply of DragonX means that it will be harder and harder to compose these NFTs. So they will appreciate as the price of DragonX depreciates. Theoretically, it's an economic experiment, like everything here. It's not financial advice. And assuming the DragonX price goes up, you need more economic mass to get that DragonX off the market and collateralize it, right? So they become rare very fast, if that makes sense.
All right, so it's like an OTC deal, basically. So you can sell your position, but without hitting the Uniswap market.
Yeah, exactly. And what we've seen with Bozo is we've seen an enormous increase in the floor price because of this effect. So people are seeing a big increase in basically the amount, because it gets harder and harder to compose these NFTs. The cheap ones get bought and they get decomposed, and people take the tokens out to sell, right? So that reduces the supply of the NFT. So now the price is higher. So now it takes more economic energy to create the next NFT, which means that the floor price goes up. So it's definitely an interesting mechanic. It's kind of a pro mechanic on top of an already kind of like pro insider coin. So, I would expect that you guys should take your time and try to understand it, and don't all in it, and try to understand the benefits of these NFTs. And like I said, it's a pro feature. Holding liquid DragonX is also fine. But we were just really excited about this mechanic, and because it plays so well with the deflationary aspect of DragonX, it could be really, really fun to see these markets develop.
Definitely very, very interesting. I think this is definitely for more advanced people, because people just trying to understand DragonX already is too much, and now this is definitely okay. You need to know at least what liquidity pools are and stuff like that. So yeah, it's nevertheless very interesting.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's totally a pro feature. Like, and we're building for the next 10,000 people, right? So the next wave of adoption, TitanX will probably be huge, and we want this option available. So don't feel like you need to avail yourself of it, but it's there. And yeah, that's that. Guys, so I'm gonna just give you a few seconds here to raise your hand if you want to speak and ask any questions about DragonX, about anything I've talked about today. I need to run kind of soon. So yeah, just feel free to raise your hand. There's no dumb questions, guys. Like, people are coming in at all different levels. DragonX is not simple. You need to understand kind of a lot of actually foundational things about crypto. So I think you should take the time to learn it. In my chat, I try to, when I'm not being cheeky and posting memes, I like to also drop some information about how liquidity works, how order books work. I posted a really valuable article in there titled "How Uniswap Works." Everybody should understand that. Like, this is critical. I think people, one of the pieces of hate that I was getting in the beginning was, how can you say that DragonX will be more than TitanX, worth more than TitanX? That's like shaming the master, right? How dare you say that? But if you understand how liquidity bonding works and how pairing a fixed a finite supply token with an inflationary token in the same liquidity pool, you'll understand that that's actually not like a boisterous thing to say. It's simply kind of like the math of the liquidity pool. So it's important to understand these basic kind of DeFi concepts. Otherwise, some of the things I say might seem like you might interpret them in the wrong way. You know, I'm coming at it from an engineer perspective. I'm not coming at it from the, you know, I'm gonna, you know, shame the master that is TitanX here. So it's kind of just based on the ratios. But please, everybody needs to read that article, how Uniswap works. You will be a more educated investor.
I mean, absolutely. I think obviously I'm also a software engineer, so I'm trying to learn right now to explain things in a simpler form without that heavy engineering side brain. So like this is just very important. I mean, the same way what I was thinking yesterday regarding DragonX and what you were saying was true, is also why is Bitcoin price going up against the dollar? Well, the dollar is an ever inflating currency, and it's trading with something which has a fixed supply. Obviously, there's also psychology into that, like people buying the tops and selling the lows. So there's definitely that thing. But in general, you have something which has a fixed supply, and you're trading it with something which is ever inflating. I mean, in simple terms, like, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, exactly. And guys, join the DragonX chat, like if you're not in DragonX chat, because I'll tell you things that other people won't tell you. Like, and it's not because I'm super smart. It's just because like all the incentives are aligned in this project, and I built something that I believe in, and that I think like doesn't. It's just I don't use any mechanics that I wouldn't use for a project that I invest in. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand the implications of some of these mechanics to a degree that other people don't. Just because I've been in the space a long time, guys. It's not because I'm like some genius. Like I'm a pretty normal guy, but like I've just been in the space. I've seen the implications of a lot of these mechanics that other people haven't. Like for example, I was early in Hex, right? I saw the dark side of staking, guys. People are obsessed with staking. They're obsessed with trying to get income off their crypto. Like this isn't the bond market. These aren't dividend stocks. Like you can't get consistent income in crypto. Like outside of a few places like stablecoin, LP, and other things like that. For the most part, stable income is a mirage. You know, a lot of people won't tell you that. You know, there are a lot of TitanX stakers who thought like, oh man, I just had this massive stream of Ethereum coming in every month. Like it's just a given. And look what happened. And it's not just DragonX. Like we only have little under 30% of the share pool. So a ton of other people came in for that 90-day payout. Way more people than the DragonX position actually, and just swamped it, right? So I'll tell you these things, guys. Like that's why there before the NFTs there wasn't really anything to do with your DragonX, because you're not here to do things, guys. This is another thing I said on Twitter. You're not here to make lots of actions and do lots of things. You're here to change your life with crypto, right? That's why you're here. So why should I build in mechanics so you can do things when your job is not to do things? Your job is to make a decisive decision and stick with it until it pays off or doesn't, right? And you know, another thing about staking is like staking is great for the protocol, but is staking great for you? Ask yourself that. And I'm not trying to knock staking. Like staking can be done right. I think it was a brilliant move for staking rewards to be issued in Ethereum rather than TitanX, right? Because then the incentives are further aligned. But staking is also a dark pattern because then there's a staker class, right? Well, that means that there's two classes of people. There's the people selling and the people who have to eat the sell while they're staked. Does that sound like a healthy mechanic? I mean, I do think overall staking is healthy, but I think that people aren't looking at the whole picture. There was an enormous amount of I would say like community infighting in Hex, whenever a big whale would come out and sell, because he's selling on the back of the staker class, right? So guys, I tell you these things because I'm like you. Like, I want to build things I would buy, right? And I want to let you know why I build them the way I do. So I hope that helps you understand. Hope this doesn't also boil down to a rant.
Totally fine, Erik. I think, the best builders are those builders who build stuff to solve their own problems in some ways, right? I mean, whenever I build a tool, it's basically I just use it every day, pretty much. And the pain I had, the same way, was like all these projects were spinning up, and I was trying to get the grasp of it. Well, I created the Google Sheet, and then, well, I created the site now, TitanX.com. And well, every time I have something, oh, I need to check that white paper of a certain project, I just visit my own site and use it every day. And similar to Erik, I would say, I don't want to ask him what he did with his miners, which became unlocked, but I bet with you he has probably 100% of it in DragonX. But I don't want to speak for you, my friend.
Yeah, guys, I mean, that's kind of the point. Like, solve your own problem. Like, I think that's the builders. You know, I was in Hex from the early days. I saw the drawbacks of staking. I saw people throwing their wealth basically away. 555 stakes. I also have 555 stakes. Guilty as charged. But you know, like, robots make better stakers, guys. You know, robots make better stakers. Like, it would have been so awesome to have gotten liquid on my stakes in Hex when it was at 50 cents. Wouldn't that be awesome? Okay, guys, I think that's probably a good place to wrap. Thanks everybody for coming. This is my first space that I've run, so I really appreciate it. And let's do more of these. And you can always come into the Telegram, ask me questions. And yeah, I mean, if you ever want to build something on DragonX, just DM me.
You're doing great. You're doing great. You're doing great, Erik, man. Thanks for this, man. This is my break. I have like half an hour. I need to go to the next meeting.
I appreciate it, Mike. I really appreciate it, man. I'm really looking forward to streaming with you soon.
Awesome. Let me know and we'll do this, man. You can do it even in your Dark Sailor, man. You don't need a nice studio, man. It's all good.
As long as I get to hear the Mike Dean backstory, then I'll be happy.
That's on the timeline at some time.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm gonna end the stream. Pleasure talking to everybody. See ya.
See you, everyone.